Hi, my name is Liam, and today I'm going to show you some multiplication tricks to make your multiplication life easier. You need to know 4 equations and 2 principles. These 4 equations right here are really common, and whenever you see them in a problem, you can substitute them for just the product of them if you memorize them. And the 4 that you need to know are 2 times 5 equals 10, 4 times 25 equals 100, 8 times 125 equals 1000, and then 4 times 125 equals 500. Know these and your life becomes much easier. And the 2 principles that you need to know are the distributive property and the commutative property. Let's go over the distributive property first. What the distributive property lets you do is it lets you break up a large and potentially scary problem into 2 smaller problems. So if b plus c is a very large number, then what you can do is you can break it down into 2 smaller numbers and then multiply that with a, and then you can just add the products of that, which is what this is, and this also is reversible. You can do the opposite of that. And the commutative property basically states that the order that you multiply things in doesn't matter. So if you take a and b, you can flip-flop it to b and a, and it doesn't matter how many things you multiply here. If it's a, b, c, and d, you can multiply those in whatever order you want, and you can use that to get to these equations right here and simplify the problem. All right, now that we've covered these 6 essentials, we can start adapting them and applying them into actual problems. The first problem that we're going to take a look at is 25 times 16 times 4. Now, this problem, you have to multiply these 3 together, but if you can use the commutative property, then you can move them around and you can try and substitute one of our 4 equations in, which we can here. 4 times 25 equals 100. We have a 25 and a 4 here, which means that if we move the problem around, then we have 4, 25, and 16. Now we can just cross this out, and we just have 100 times 16, which, simple enough multiplication, 1600. Boom, solved. Next problem looks a little bit more intimidating, but because 24, if you remember your times tables, 24 is a multiple of 6 and 4, which means that we can break this equation apart into 6 times 4 times 25. And look, another 4 and a 25. We can multiply those together. 100. 6 times 100, 600. Solved. All right, let's try another problem. This problem looks pretty intimidating because we have 3 multiple digit numbers, one of which is a 3-digit number. However, 32 is in a very good position to turn this equation into 2 of the ones that we already have over here and make the problem very, very simple. So 32, if you remember your times tables, yet again, is a multiple of 4 and 8. So 4 times 8 times 25 times 125. Now, all we have to do is use the commutative property, yet again, rearrange this. 25 times 4 times 125 times 8. And now all we have to do is substitute it in for these over here. 25 times 4, cross that out. 100, 125 times 8, cross that out. 1000, multiply these 2 together. 100,000. There you go. All right, now that we have done a lot of work with the commutative property, let's take a look at how we can use the distributive property to solve some equations. Now, looking at this problem, there are 2 ways to solve it. There's the easy way and there's the hard way. The hard way is you have to multiply these 2 together and then these 2 together, and then you have to add that up. Or you can use the distributive property and make the problem much easier, because both of these are multiplied by 8, which means that if we add them together and multiply them by 8, after they're added together, then we'll get the exact same answer as we would otherwise, which means 20 plus 105 times 8 is the same as this problem, which is 125 times 8. And we already know what that is. It's 1,000. So it's answer for the problem is 1,000. There you go. All right, so let's take another look at how we can use the distributive property. This problem can look fairly intimidating because it's 18 times 125. We haven't really worked with 18 yet. It can be a little bit of a hard number to work with sometimes. However, we have 125 here, which means that if we can figure out a way to get an 8, then we can just substitute that out for 1,000. So we have an 18 here. You can get an 8 out of an 18. 10 plus 8 times 125 is still the same as this problem, which means that we can distribute this out to 10 times 125 plus 8 times 125, and boom, we have 8 times 125. Swap that out for 1,000, and now we just have 10 times 125 plus 1,000, and multiplying 10 is really simple. All you have to do, just add a 0 onto the end of 125. 1,250 plus 1,000, again, really easy math, 2,250. And there you go. Right, now let's take a look at how to use the distributive property with subtraction. So right here we have an equation, 55 times 99. 99 is a really difficult number to work with in multiplication because it doesn't really simplify with anything. However, it does have the very nice coincidence of being really close to 100. So we can just make 99, we can write that as 100 minus 1, and the equation will still work. So if we just have 55 times 100 minus 1, still the same equation, they're equal. Now all we have to do is we have to distribute the 55 out to both of these numbers. So we have 55 times 100 minus 55 times 1. And as we already know, any number times 1 is itself, so that's just 55. And any number times 100, you just add 2 zeros onto the end, 5,500. 5,500 minus 55, that's just some subtraction. All we have to do there, and subtract it, and then 5,445. And there's your answer. All right, the last two things I'm going to show you today are some little bonus techniques that make multiplying by 11 and multiplying by 101 much, much simpler. So, the multiplying by 11, I didn't actually learn this trick until I was in 8th grade, so you guys are getting a little bit of a jump start on me. What you're going to need to do is, you got to create a 3-digit number, and the hundreds spot will always be the same as the first digit of the 2-digit number, and the 1 spot will always be the same as the second digit. So it's going to be 2 blank 5 for this. Now, all you have to do for the middle digit is you just add the two numbers together and you'll have the number. So it's just 275, very simple. The second thing is 27 times 101. This one's even simpler. All you have to do is just put this number, put it behind it. 27 times 101 is just 2,727. 2727, just like that, super simple.